Hello, my lovely audience. Anyway, welcome to another video. Let me do a quick explanation. When I said I was taking a break, I meant it. But I did say in that video that I would still be posting, just a lot less. So I'm recording a video. Yipperoomies. Let's get into it. Give me a moment. Sorry, my cat was calling. Yes, I have a cat. I actually have two. Technically three, but... Oh, hi, Boo. So, let's get into the what if. You know what, since they're here, might as well, Hi, Pietro. Oh, poke, poke. That right there is a kitten. You heard me right, that's a kitten. Like, no joke, that is just straight up a kitten. Kittens only become cats when they're a year old, and what you just saw is not a year old, so he's still technically, well, she is still technically a kitten. Yeah. Oh, bye-bye. Anyway, let's get into the video. So, Deku's standing, well, he's looking off of the side of the building after All Might just crushed his dreams and, well, left. He's wondering about what Kachan said. Well, Katsuki, he looks down there, breathes, takes off his bag, and writes a letter to his mother saying he was sorry. Bakugo would be walking right past the building as Deku, Bakugo would be walking right past the building with his cronies as Deku would fall. Like, just as Bakugo turned the corner, Deku was already, beginning to fall, so, yeah, he accidentally, goes splat right in front of Bakugo. He takes a picture and then falls over. Like, what have I done? No, he doesn't take a picture. One of the cronies takes a picture and laughs, whilst Bakugo's just staring at Deku's corpse like, what have I done? Oh no. Oh no. Like, he has a full-on mental breakdown and falls over to the ground. Immediately he gets up and just sprints, like, I need to get help. I need to get someone. His cronies, following him because they don't want to piss him off. But yeah, Bakugo's having a panic attack, like, I can save him. I can get him help. But we cut back to Deku's current body. He could feel a voice. A voice. Kill them. Kill the meatbags. What the fuck? What do you mean by meatbag? Look, look. What kind of response is that? You just jumped to your death and a voice is telling you to get up and kill everyone and you're being like, why are you calling them meatbags? What the hell, dude? But we cut back to Deku. Well, we cut back to his dead body laying on the ground, not his head. A light would emit from his chest as, well, wiring and metal would begin replacing his, existing veins with, would be replacing his veins and the veins that are currently splattered across the pavement with wires. they would be replaced with wires and tubes that would carry oil, along with his skin being replaced with metal and his muscles being replaced with circuitry and artificial muscles. One of his eyes would tick red as he would get up. Just flat out get up. And just walks away. Like, neat. He just gets up and walks away. A lady just sees this and screams. Deku, his shoulder turns and, well, this happens, and he decapitates her. This is the only mechanoid kind of picture I could find. It isn't actually a mechanoid since they're all based off of bugs. Well, more so, bugs were based off of them. Long story short, mechanoids existed, destroyed a lot of shit. Then a bunch of people made black hive bugs. Yes, that's their name. The black hive. Which are, well, just like black bugs. That all look like, well, they look kind of like mechanoids, except they're different. Like, the pikemen, as they're called, are the mammoth worms counterpart. And the mammoth worms are big, roly-poly bugs, which are really good at taking hits and are melee fighters, whilst the pikemen are bad at taking hits and are ranged fighters. So they're kind of counterparting each other. But yeah, Deku's currently being controlled by the Persona Core, which will quickly change, but he's currently just a robotic husk. And he ends up just flat out walking away into the sewers. He would regain consciousness, well, control over himself, and just not know what to do. He would just fall to his knees, curl up into a ball, and just cry his eyes out. It's Izuku we're talking about here. It's Deku. He would cry over spilt milk. Now you can only imagine how traumatizing this situation would be. So the police arrive. Deku's body is gone. Bakugo is permanently traumatized. And we would do a bit of a time skip to, when Bakugo first enters the class. He doesn't put his feet up, he doesn't do anything. He just sits down at the table and, just looks defeated. Like, he looks traumatized. We cut back over to Deku, and he's formed a bit of a mech hive. Yeah. Mechanoids really are just robot insects. Hive. He has a few scythers, which are basically just praying mantises, but instead of the grabbies, they have just swords. They don't even have the arm. It's just replaced with 2 swords sticking out the socket, and they have, like, wheel feet. These dudes. SCP-131. Imagine you took the bottom half of them, which is the wheel bit, stuck it on another little circle, put it on a praying mantis head, and gave it sword arms. That's a scyther. Yes, that's a scyther. It would be a lot better of a description to just say a scyther with its arms replaced with its sides and its metal robot and has wheels. But yeah. So Deku would eventually end up coming across a certain purple-haired person, well, kind of pink-haired, and you can guess how that goes. She wants to dissect Deku. Deku's like, oh, hell nah, and an epic chase breaks out. Bakugo we cut back to Bakugo, and he's just sat there in total silence. Not even, getting angry. as like people are quite literally poking his head. He's just sat there, silent. We cut back to Deku with Mei. Deku's now trying to use a chair and a whip to tame her like a lion. It is not working because she has a backpack with buzzsaws. We cut back to Bakugo. He's now just crying in the locker room. We cut back to Deku. He's currently riding on top of a centipede, firing like heavy shell blasts at Mei as she's ducking and dodging, holding. Give me a moment to compose myself. As she's ducking and dodging, holding a screwdriver, like jumping over dead scythers. He picks up one of their arms and rips off one of their blades and shoves it right in the face of the pikeman, and then just jumps on top of it. We cut back to Bakugo. He's now being man-hugged by Kirishima. Well, bear-hugged, but he calls it a man-hug. Because I think that's cute. We now cut back to Deku and Mei. Deku is now chainsaw limbs on all fours driving at her while she's picking up a machine gun, which she pulled off of one of the pikemen's dead bodies. We cut back to Bakugo. He's now just sobbing quietly in his bedroom. We cut back to Mei and Deku. Yeah. They're both now wielding lightsabers, busy slashing at each other. Another time skip. Okay, so USJ attack time. The villains come in. It's all, it's very similar to canon, until Eraserhead jumps down. That's when shit hits the fan. As one of the walls of the USJ blow up as a termite comes through. If you don't know what a termite is, just imagine a bear, except the front half of it is buff, and very broad. And it has cannons which it uses to break through walls, and has a mechanoid face, which is just a black face with camera lenses. Yeah, that's a mechanoid face. It's just busted through the wall and is now walking. It's more like a gorilla, but in the stance of a lizard. That's more of what it is. So, yeah. Now he has to worry about killer robots. The Scythers would come down, descend upon the villains. They, of course, would activate their quirks. A missile would come flying overhead and blow up a bunch of them, as a pikeman has a rocket launcher, another has a heavy slugger, which sounds exactly what it is. It doesn't shoot slugs, it shoots, the weapon kind. And there's 2 slugger turrets. So yeah, now they're just being shot with slugger turrets. And sluggers. Yeah, it's just a bloodbath. Scythers are ripping people to shreds, cutting them in half. The Nomu has to step out. The floor is red. That's all I'm gonna say. The floor is red, and let's just say people with healing quirks are really getting their dime a dozen out of them. They're really getting their use out of them. The people who don't have healing quirks, let's just say, a little piece of them is over there. A little piece of them is over there. There's one in a man's mouth. He has a dog quirk, and he's picked up a leg like a bone. He's just been blown up by another missile. Oh, here comes another barrage hitting people out of midair. Yeah. Oh, now a flamethrower is walking forwards. I don't know what the flamer looks like. I just know it exists. Sorry, I can't give you a physical description. But the flamer comes out. It's like a flamethrower type thing. I can't describe what it looks like because I don't know what it looks like. just comes along and is now burning people alive. The Nomu comes out and it immediately gets its arm chopped off by like 3 scythers. It breaks them while it's getting cut a lot, as it gets hit with multiple heavy slugger fire, dealing decent damage because of the explosion and fire. But remember, the Nomu has shock absorption. Yeah, the scythers are only the really ones who deal a lot of damage, but there's a lot of them. And when I say there's a lot, I mean there's a lot of them. Like the same amount of villains, like double the villain amount. Deku turns up looking like this, with May just sort of like, can I dissect you now? No. Now? No. Now? No. Now? No. Everyone's now just, what? May, did you do this? Kaminari says, I wouldn't put it past her. Jiro says, for once I can agree with you. Bayonetta says, damn, who is she? And immediately gets blown up. Deku just gives him the middle finger. First of all, I'm not one of her creations. This is just how I am. Second of all, apparently she's getting oh, neat. Apparently she's gone like a month off because a teacher got sick. Yeah, mysteriously. It's not like I, accidentally created a nuclear taser or anything. You did. You created a taser that tases people with nuclear energy and used it on everyone in the classroom. I wouldn't say that, but okay, if it wasn't that, it was the lacerations they got from the time a chainsaw went haywire somehow. First of all, it was a cipher. Second of all, Deku figuratively raises an eyebrow. She crosses arms like, shut up. And pouts. Anyway, we've come here to... Is this Weenie Hut? May looks at him. This is not Weenie Hut. We're not going to Weenie Hut Jr. Why, I like the food there. You like the weenies. You are weenie. Deku gives her the middle finger. Everyone's just visibly confused as Bakugo gets jumped by like 3 scythers. Hey, don't dismember him. We don't want another lawsuit. Another one? Just says everyone in the class. Oh. Everyone just says, another one? What do you mean by another one? Yeah, I don't really feel like hiding a body today. Everyone just gets more concerned that these two are talking about this so casually. As like in the background, Bakugo is now being trampled by like 3 termites. Kirishima hardens like, I'm gonna save my bro. One of the termites looks at him, looks at the other termites, back at him, back at the termites, and it says, bro, I see a wall. No way, bro, it's a wall. Destroy the wall. Kirishima's like, what do you mean by a wall? Are you complimenting me? He gets cut off before being shot with, like, a slugger, as he is now being bombarded with missiles. I'm having too much fun with this. Yeah, I just decided to make a what if where I just go unhinged. Thought it would be a nice change of pace where I just don't decide to add any sense of logic and just add chaos. The Nomu's, like, now directly behind Deku. He looks at it, back at May. Looks at it, back at May. I didn't know you were into genetic experimentation yet. No, I'm not. May would say as Deku gets punched in the face. Deku now just turns his arm into a slugger, point blank, right to the head, Exodia obliterate. It just falls over limp. He picks it up, opens a vat, throws it in the vat, and then does that hand thing, dusts off his hands, and is like, okay, now we're cloning it. In case you're wondering, in RimWorld, there's been a recent biotech expansion, which is the reason why I'm making this video, where it allows you to make your own mechanoids, and also clone people. Though those clones are they don't have any skills, they don't have any passions, they don't have any childhoods or adulthoods, just play the game. Everything I'm saying is gonna make a lot more sense if you do. Or look up a few videos on it. Now, Deku just walks forward hey, save some of that bastard for me. He would say before being interrupted with a regular centipede just walking across the ground. He would jump up like a cat into May's arms kill it with fire. I don't understand your issue with bugs. She would say as a mammoth worm would just come up behind her. This giant, roly-poly on steroids would just be directly behind her. She would look back. I see what you mean now. As it would get blown up by 8 centipedes. No, lancers. No, they're called centipedes. They're called centipedes. The big thing I described to you that shoots guns. The big thing that you would think would be good at combat but isn't and is instead a ranged fighter is called a centipede. I've been calling it a lancer this entire time. A lancer is just it's just a scyther with a gun. Instead of blades, it has one big gun. Yeah. So, yeah. That's the USJ. Shigaraki gets stabbed in the gut. Deku may leave with Deku still in her arms. They just walk into the sunset. Aizawa is just what is with this? I thought it was just my class that was chaotic. The killer robots are just walking away with a pummeled Bakugo on the ground. It was trampled by everything. He's been cut, bruised. He just says, I deserve this. And goes limp. Anyway, I'm ending this off here. Goodbye, my lovely, lovely audience. I had way too much fun with this. I know that. I do not care. I decided to make a silly what if because the start of it was fucked up. So, yeah. Also, Deku doesn't like All Might. Bye! Goodbye, my lovely, lovely audience.